How does a game go from being the industry's golden child to the most hated game on the planet back to the golden child within just a few days? I've been gaming since the Nintendo 64 days, and let me tell you, I have never seen anything like this. There was a better chance of Phil Spencer reviving Xbox, or should I say Microsoft Gaming. Yes, we're going there. Believe it to none other to pull off this miracle than Helldivers 2.
All they need to do is just sit back, relax, and let the game continue to flourish and pop off.
What makes Helldivers 2's redemption story so amazing is directly correlated to how tone-deaf publishers like Sony are in the failing AAA industry. I'm talking unthinkable controversies from canceling fan-favorite studios, to straight-up scamming players in more ways than one, to ultimately declaring war on your players when they refuse to accept the stupidity of your own accord. So how did Helldivers 2 manage to successfully force a AAA publisher to take democracy right up the ass? And is the AAA industry scared of the ripple effect that Helldivers 2 may have just caused? Well, in order to answer these questions, let's address how much of a shock it is that Helldivers 2 even rose to this level in the first place. Hit that like button and subscribe if you're new, for an unlimited supply of liberty. I want you to imagine this. Imagine a small indie developer team with limited expectations ends up beating a popular AAA IP like Call of Duty. Oh wait, that's exactly what happened with Arrowhead Game Studio. You gotta understand that no one expected Helldivers 2 to be this successful, not even the Arrowhead developers. I'm talking millions of sales, a record-breaking player count. These players went from spreading their cheeks for the Fortnite Battle Pass to spreading managed democracy. Everyone was winning, from the developers to the publisher to, most importantly, the players. That is until the dumbass publisher decided to F it all up. When Sony unexpectedly announced that the grace period was over for PC players, the news went viral over social media, and players were furious.
In response to your request, we would like to inform you that the registration of an account of the region of Ukraine is only possible through the console itself.
What the f?
In classy fashion, Sony restricted over 170 countries from playing Helldivers 2. Choosing a country you do not live in is a violation of Sony's terms of service and could lead to your account getting permanently banned. And they still willingly sold it to these players, misleading them, knowing that they wouldn't be able to play it in the future. But here's where it gets tricky. It did say on Steam that Helldivers 2 requires a third-party PSN account, but Sony never enforced it until months after release, leaving thousands of PC players on Steam unable to play the game. These players got scammed hard, and let's face it, having to make multiple accounts for every online game is f***ing annoying, and it has to stop. Want to see something even crazier? The biggest Helldivers 2 streamer, Pirate Software, caught Sony baiting and switching on the community. On May 3rd, it said on PlayStation support that PSN account linking is optional for PC players, but literally the next day, it changed to some PlayStation games requiring PC players to link PSN accounts.
And I'd do it again if it weren't for the uncanny boy band knowledge of you meddling brats!
Something that was alarming to me was when the Arrowhead CEO was asked what to do by a fan because Helldivers 2 wasn't supported in his region, and he straight up replied, "I don't know." If that doesn't encapsulate the lack of communication between Sony and Arrowhead, I don't know what does. What was even Sony's motive behind this? According to them, the decision was for security reasons.
No, wait, it's not what you think.
Who the hell does Sony think they're fooling? Sony's track record for being hacked is absolutely atrocious, so that's just laughably ironic. The disgusting reality is they took advantage of Helldivers 2's success and saw that as an opportunity to drive their player numbers up on PSN. But Sony isn't the only publisher in the AAA industry to be this brain dead. So before we get into how Helldivers 2 overcame this disaster and why it's making the AAA industry shit their pants, let me ask you this. Have you seen what's going on in gaming right now? Recently, it seems like publishers are in competition with each other on who can screw up the best, and they just keep outdoing themselves. Xbox is under complete turmoil after shutting down half of Bethesda studios, including Tango Gameworks, the team who developed fan-favorite and award-winning Hi-Fi Rush. The game where Xbox fans were saying, "Finally, a genuinely fun game to play. Xbox actually might be back." Then the CEO Phil Spencer comes along and decides to take a steaming dump on players' hopes. It's pretty sad to say, but Xbox has closed more studios than it's released games as of May of this year in 2024. Is that not humiliating? Keep in mind, Microsoft just acquired Activision and have control over popular IPs like Call of Duty. Not a good look. Escape from Tarkov has also self-destructed after selling possibly the biggest scam of the year. Battlestate Games originally promised players who bought the EOD edition free access to all future DLCs. However, Battlestate pivoted that to 6 months of DLC access unless you buy their new $250 pay-to-win scam. All those years building their reputation down the drain. For what? Remember when the day before got released? If not, that's probably because it got deleted off the market just as quick. This scam delivered on 0 of its promises, and the backlash from the players was so bad that Fantastic refunded everyone and took the game off the market from ever selling that scam again. Talk about incompetent. But the ultimate point is, this is the tragic state that the AAA industry is in. So when Helldivers 2 released, and all was going well, it gave us hope for AAA games. When Sony baited and switched the community, players took it personal, for good reason. Helldivers 2 players review bombed the hell out of the game, pun intended. Think about how crazy this sounds. It took over 100,000 negative reviews on Steam and refund demands for Sony to say, okay, so we can't get away with blatantly scamming our players. Good to know. Arrowhead probably told Sony, hey boss, you kinda just killed our game of the year that we worked really hard on for over 7 years. Sony says, yeah, and? Well, for one, you pissed off all your players, and you lost all trust from your fans. If that doesn't clear the fog from your brain, you're also gonna lose out on a lot of money.
Hello, I like money.
It's pretty insane how the only way we can convince these big publishers to not be douchebags is for the entire player base to change their reviews from positive to negative and never play the game again. It would be the equivalent to Activision finally listening to the COD community. Yeah guys, we promise no more recycling content and pushing out that same cash grab scam year after year. Yeah, that's how unlikely it was that Helldivers 2 was going to be saved. It's a freaking pipe dream. So when PlayStation announced that they admitted defeat, the only way I could describe it as was euphoric. Kinda like the feeling you get after you subscribe to the one and hit that like button for democracy. The Act-Man said it best. Pretty funny that the community who has been trained to focus their efforts on a single goal managed to coordinate 100,000 plus negative reviews in real life. Our training paid off indeed, Acting Male. Even the Arrowhead community manager told players to spam negative reviews because that was the only way to get Sony's attention, which kinda resulted in him allegedly getting fired, but still, respect to him and his redemption arc. They then proceeded to make a cape in honor of the negative Steam reviews turning to positive reviews. I love Arrowhead for this. This is something you never see in a game when developers inject drama happening outside of the game into the game. The lore of Helldivers 2 is unmatched, and the response by the Helldivers 2 community, unprecedented. I would argue, based on our response for democracy, the Helldivers 2 community is the absolute best in gaming, and the response by Arrowhead Games convinces me that they just might be the best developer team in the entire industry. Arrowhead took a lot of heat for this, but like, why? You think they wanted to kill their own game and tarnish their reputation? I know some people will complain that Arrowhead knew the PSN link change was coming yet they didn't make it clear enough for the consumers. But it's just totally unfair for a greedy publisher to destroy the golden reputation Arrowhead has built for themselves. You gotta love what Pilestead and the rest of Arrowhead has done with Helldivers 2 so far, providing actually good live service through War Bonds. The game is a masterpiece. If we look at this from the perspective of the AAA industry and all its totally beloved publishers, we can finally answer the big question. Why is the AAA industry scared of Helldivers 2 and its redemption? Well, the truth is, these publishers are scared because the community finally stood up and said enough. They fear democracy. The industry now sees how much money they could lose and how much they could destroy the reputation of their brand if they push the wrong buttons with the players. It makes zero sense to withhold the player from making an account and playing your game. Why not allow more players to play your game? I thought you liked making money. It's common sense. Nevertheless, I'm glad Sony made the right decision, and I think this is a huge win for indie studios as well. Arrowhead shows that you can work with the AAA publisher and maintain the integrity of the game. It's as simple as this. If you make a good game with the pure intention of making it fun, the players will have your back, as long as you have your die-hard fans at best interest. But is Helldivers 2 sending a ripple effect throughout the industry? If you ask me, absolutely. As time goes on, AAA games are under more turmoil than ever before. Based on recent controversies such as the Xbox drama, the Tarkov scam the day before, and now Helldivers 2 and Sony, it shows that the fans have the power. We're no longer tolerating the anti-consumer business model. Ultimately, this is why what happened with Helldivers 2 scares the AAA industry. Now picture this. The Call of Duty community rallies together to not buy the next cash grab installment or any future bundles. I could sure as hell guarantee you change will happen then. Oh, I almost forgot. It did happen with Infinite Warfare, when the community forced COD to return to boots on ground, or the Battlefield community rallies together when this up-and-coming, tremendous live service game ends up sucking, the players trash the game, and EA is forced to actually make changes that benefit the damn players. The point is, us players need to realize the power we truly hold. We have the leverage in getting what we want in a game, and just like the Helldivers 2 community, that's exactly what we need to do to bring forth a new golden era for AAA games. But the war isn't over yet. It appears that Sony is getting revenge on us for liberating Helldivers 2. Ghost of Tsushima has also been overrun by the automatons at Sony, as the same countries who are blocked from purchasing Helldivers 2 are blocked from purchasing Director's Cut. Fortunately, Steam is now refunding players who live in the areas that need liberating. Again, it just goes to show that Sony is the problem and the war is never over. So watch this video to understand even more how scary Helldivers 2 truly is to the AAA industry. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button for democracy, and thanks for watching everyone. I am a sentinel. This has been one.